The funeral practices have changed greatly. It's almost unrecognizable. I'm sure A.S. Bardal, the founder, would not even recognize it today. And even with me, I started in 1992, so 26 years ago. I've seen such great change. I mean, it used to be that all funerals took a very similar course. They might have the body at the chapel for a day for people to call in and pay their respects, and then a service would happen the next day at the church, and then the following, later that day, the burial would take place in a cemetery. Everybody who came to the funeral generally walked here. I mean, ironically, 100 years ago when the funeral home was built, we didn't even have a parking lot because nobody owned cars. Over the years, we've bought the houses around our back lane, and we were able to build a parking lot that would house 92 cars, but there's one small change that happened. Another change that's happened was the rise in cremation. Before the 80s and even into the 90s, it was quite rare. And then in the 90s, it really started to become commonplace. So now it's well over 80% of the families that we serve opt for cremation as opposed to burial. And because society has changed so much, people are so spread out, families aren't all right in Winnipeg anymore. You can have everybody from Vancouver to Hong Kong to Brazil and all be part of the same family, and they all have to come to Winnipeg for the service. And so often services are delayed and people opt for cremation. In that situation because they believe that it's easier to hold the cremated remains and wait a little longer for the family to get together. Another thing that I've seen change is whereas almost all funerals used to be at a church, now almost all funerals aren't at a church anymore. They're either at our chapel or the family will do something on their own, maybe at a country club or their own personal community hall, and we might not be involved in the actual funeral service side of things, just the cremation side of things. So. With my father-in-law, who I took the business over from, he said, yeah, I used to come to work and it was what day, what place, what color was the casket, and those were 3 questions a funeral director had to ask. Now we're coordinating everything from catering to flowers to video tributes and stationery. All the things that used to happen at the church are often happening through us, and all the things that the community used to come alongside and support families do, the families are looking to funeral homes to provide that support.